Guys are doing a killer job there at Birds 365 in the morning, man. You're getting the best coverage you possibly can. We so appreciate it. Thank you guys very much. Please hit that like button. And without further ado, my boy, Big Z, Zander Krause joins us now.
What's going on, Big Cells? Good football Friday to you, and a good Friday as well in the holy season. How you doing, brother?
Absolutely. So what are you making what I'm saying here? What I did today was I did an exercise, not about players and where they'll go, but what teams more likely will do. Because the other day, did not Howie say at the press conference, we're kind of beholden to what they do in front of us. And you've got to have a strategy. See, I get my topics from Howie. People think I make topics up sometimes, and I do, but I get the majority of my topics.
Me that brain isn't responsible for any of the great topics you come up with?
I get majority of my topics from McMullen, you, and Howie. That's where I get I'm not kidding, I do. And this is where I get I have 12 teams that are going to trade down. I got 5 teams that are going to trade up. Rest of them are going to stay pat, in my opinion. If you know that, and we're around that idea, what do you do at 32?
Go up and get your guy if they fall. If you don't go, if somebody's there for you at 26, 27, and it all depends on the Eagles board. Let's be honest. I mean, if they don't have guys on their board, obviously they're not going to do this. But if they do evaluate one of the guys that falls, I'm going up and getting them, Sills. I mean, this is a Super Bowl window, brother. Go and get the player that's going to make the best impact on your team. And they're obviously the ones who decide who that player is. Doesn't mean they're going to be right. But if he's there, I'm going and getting him, man. I'm going and getting him. I know where I'm with you, though, is there is more value in the second round. I just think this team must get a contributor, especially on a rookie deal. So if the right guy falls, I'd go up and get him. Now, the chance of the right guy falling is pretty slim, to be honest. So once that happens, they're going to have to identify that early. Don't you agree? Because if they don't, they could pigeonhole themselves into having no trade partner to move back with.
Well, the Eagles have drafted 3 straight Pro Bowlers from the second round in the last 3 drafts. So, I mean,
that's impressive.
What are we talking about here? Contributor? You getting contributors and Pro Bowlers in the second round the last 3 years.
Right.
I mean, Jalen Hurts was a second-round draft choice. Landon Dickerson is a second-round draft choice. Cam Jurgens is a second-round draft choice. These are all guys you didn't take in the first round. Shit, your best player last year was a rookie. Might have been Cooper DeJean. He was taken in the second round.
All right.
So when we talk about the first round, is there a guy there? Shit, the Eagles are getting more from their second round than their first round. You have to look at their history.
Yeah, I mean, the 23, they didn't have a second-round pick, but last year, Cooper, obviously incredible. Cam Jurgens in 22.
How about their last 3 drafts in the second round then? Or their last –
well, the last 3 would include –
the last years that they had a second-round pick, every guy they took in the second round, has he not turned out to be a Pro Bowler?
No, they all have. Yeah, they all have. I mean, including back to Jalen Hurts. And even 2019, the year before Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders. And the year before that, Dallas Goedert.
Okay, so all these guys are Pro Bowlers in the second round. What are we talking about here? We're talking about the value of the pick. They've been, would you not agree? They've been just as successful in the second round as they've been in the first round the last 4 years.
That's arguable. I mean, you got higher caliber players. You got Devontae Smith. You got Jalen Carter. Like those guys, the second rounders don't have that upside, but I don't know. Maybe you could argue that. Look at Landon Dickerson. He might be the best left guard in football. Like he's that good.
How about your quarterback?
Yeah. Quarterback, obviously, second round. Yeah, you could argue second round's been better. That's a good point, Sales. Maybe you do hang tight. The other problem is, though, it all depends on the board, right? Like if you don't feel like you had these type of players in the second round, but I do think you're right because of the way we've talked about the first round. I think there will be a lot of those guys available in round 2. Maybe it is a trade back, but, is it possible that they get hamstrung and there's no partner to move back with or no team to move back with? If they wait too long, they're going to have to identify early, I think, if they want to move back.
See, I think the value of the draft is from 25 down, maybe 20 down to 2 to 4. That to me, I don't have to deal with the 5th year. I don't have to. And by the way, the Browns have the 33rd pick. I mean, trade with the Browns.
Yeah, then maybe they can grab their quarterback at 32.
Correct. You know, at 1, guess what you do? Watch this. At 1, you grab Travis Hunter. You go to 32, you grab your quarterback.
Grab Milrow.
Or if you are
what's the difference though? Like, what's the advantage for the Eagles to drop from 32 to 33 in that instance? Is there any at all other than it's very minimal though? It's very minimal, right?
Well, no, because you don't have to deal with the 5th year. And you don't have to deal with that option going like you did. How about this? Do you think you'd be more comfortable with Jordan Davis on the football team? Could you do more with Jordan Davis if he didn't have that 5th year option?
Well, potentially, but you would also have to.
Then you can negotiate him down to $6 million.
Yeah, but you'd have to negotiate that contract now, so you lose a year. But you're not wrong. I mean, you still have to make a decision when it's a first rounder.
Well, don't you think them delaying this decision is bad news for him?
Yeah.
Because doesn't usually Howie like to get in front of that?
Yeah. And that Tyleek Williams, the guy that they brought in, he's a true run stopper. If they draft him, Jordan's on the outs. Actually, I think the fact that they brought him in might show you already that they're thinking that Jordan Davis is going to be too much for what they want to pay him.
I think they've telegraphed a couple things this offseason. Tight end position and the defensive tackle position.
What do you see telegraphed at tight end?
Committee.
Yeah.
Just committee.
I don't think it's a good move.
Could you have won a Super Bowl last year without Dallas Goedert?
I don't know. He was your leading receiver in the postseason.
Okay, true.
Catches and yards. I'm not saying he made the offense go, but don't you think there's like a special part of Super Bowl teams where, you know, you take away AJ, all of a sudden somebody else beats you. You take away Saquon, somebody else beats you. Like the Eagles had that at every level, whether it was depth players, whether it was tight end when you needed it, whether it was AJ Brown or Devontae when you needed it. Obviously, Devontae with a big catch in the Super Bowl. You know, if you take away some of those elements, do you become more one-dimensional? Do you become
You were one-dimensional?
No, we weren't.
Yes, you were all season long.
Sills, but when we needed to not be.
No. When you got to that game, you were able to have it, but you got to that game by being one dimension.
Well, the only reason we got there is not because of what we dictated.
That wasn't you did not play at all in any way last year from the bye on multitasking.
And why is that?
Because you were last in the league in passing.
Because Saquon Barkley, nobody could stop him.
Shit. That's one-dimensional.
I know, but when you took away Saquon, they weren't one-dimensional, which would insinuate as a team they were not one-dimensional.
In one game, it was the most important.
No, because one-dimensional would mean when you took away the run game, they lost the Steelers game. No, they won that game. They would have lost the Commanders game. No, they won that game. They would have lost to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Offense last year on a week-to-week basis was beating teams.
I didn't say that.
No, I know.
I said the conclusive evidence in hindsight on the 2024 Eagles is they were not one-dimensional because they wouldn't have won the Super Bowl if they were one-dimensional.
They were one-dimensional all season long. I mean,
but they weren't.
Yeah, they were. Look at what they did week to week.
How did we win the Super Bowl?
They took the ball out of the. I'm talking about game 1 to 17. How you got there?
No, but saying they were one-dimensional,
they were.
End statement is false because that means
they were 1-30. I don't know how else to say it. I don't know. I don't know what other facts you need. You were 1-30, but the one dimension you had, you dominated. That's why I'm talking about the way to stop the Eagles. You got to stop Bart. Here, let's do this. If you were going to name the MVP, like I said at a team a year ago, Barkley, Bond, Carter, Hurts. Those were the 4 best players on your team, were they not?
Stills, if we were one-dimensional without a shadow of a doubt with not being more than that, we wouldn't have won the Super Bowl.
Ask anybody, including your boy, John, if they were one-dimensional.
John is not my barometer for truth. I know he should become your barometer for truth. He is not my barometer for truth.
Hey, I've never heard somebody say that, hey, they were so balanced last year.
Yeah, but Curtis, you're missing what I'm saying, dog. Curtis says, Zander, the Eagles agreed with Sills right before the Steelers game. Yeah, well, we all did, Curtis. The problem is, in the games that they did need to be non-one-dimensional, win without Saquon, they did. They won the Super Bowl. They won that Steelers game you're talking about. So if they were one-dimensional, that would insinuate they were not able to win those games without the one dimension. But the one dimension was gone, and they still won the game. So what happened?
That's not.
They won by luck?
No, they won by running the football and Barkley being the superstar
Steelers,
player. And Barkley being the superstar player that he was.
Not versus Steelers, dog.
Jalen had 2 great games last year. 2.
Ready? Eagles versus Steelers. Hey, let's go look.
Get this. 2 great games. Here, let's do this.
Woo! 27-13.
Did he play great?
Barkley, 19 carries for 65 total yards.
You're right. They were balanced. All right.
Jalen was 25 of 32 for 290 and
1 game. I asked you about game 1 to 17 to get you there. In your opinion, you think they were a balanced team last year?
No, that's not what I said.
From 1 to 17. Take the
playoffs.
Balanced.
No, they weren't balanced. But my take is different. They didn't have to be balanced because nobody could stop Saquon Barkley, which is why he had 2,000 yards.
That's one dimension. Yes.
No. But one-dimensional is different than not being balanced. Because if you're one-dimensional, then you can't do anything
else. They were not balanced. Their numbers show you, and they're
all right. We have different definitions. One-dimensional would mean you can't win.
I have the definition that everybody uses in the league.
Yo, go ask Steve. Go ask Steve. No. Hey, go ask Steve Spagnuolo if the Philadelphia Eagles
definition of balanced offense has been intact for 100 years.
No,
not the one in Philly. Holy cow!
Yes,
you're telling me a team that from game 1 to game 17, who a guy who threw 17 passes a game versus a team that ran the ball 35 times is a balanced scoring attack.
So why did they lose?
That's not my point.
Why didn't they lose?
I'm talking about balancing attack.
Hey, Stevie Spags.
Hey, I'll tell you this here, man. You better not lose that boy. How about this? We'll find out if Barkley's not the guy this year.
All right, Steve Spags. Are the Eagles one-dimensional? No, Jalen Hurts absolutely lit me up in the Super Bowl. Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course, because Jalen Hurts had 2 wonderful games last year. 2 out of 20.
But that's all he needed to have.
That's right. Because the team carried him there.
Well, Saquon, nobody could stop Saquon, the best running back in the modern game.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. 1,000% Big Sills agrees. Big Sills agrees with that.
Look at Joe Whipp, the voice of reason, checks in. Thank you, Joe. If they were one-dimensional, they would not be able to pass. They were able to pass effectively when they had to.
Hey, that's why they changed the offense in the bye, and they made sure they took it out of the turnover machine's hands. They even said it. Guy had 17 turnovers.
Emre ought to open a 5-star restaurant with all the cooking he does in this chat. Yeah. One dimension, the winning dimension. Woo!
That's right.
That's the winning dimension.
Absolutely.
Baby.
I completely agree with that. The one dimension is the winning dimension. And that's why you're getting rid of your tight end. Because they don't need it. Because the quarterback doesn't need it.
I can't argue with you on that. I can't argue with you on that. They're pushing tight end Goddard out the door for 13, 14 mil.
Let me ask you this. If a really great passer was on that team, do you think that Patrick Mahomes would go like this? We don't need a tight end here in Kansas City anymore. Fuck it. We'll just, we'll have Harrison Bryant. How you doing? I'll tell you what. I'd like to see Goddard up in Buffalo. That's what I'd like to see. All right.
See, Ronald, this is where ego comes in, Ronald. Ronald says, if someone can't stop it, why stop doing it? Well, you got to appease all the people who want a beauty pageant. That's it, Ronald.
Right. Wait a minute.
Curtis and Sileo want a beauty pageant. That's it. They Ronald, want a beauty pageant.
Hey, Ronald, I'm curious. Why are you paying AJ and Devontae if Barkley's the star?
We got to win football games. We need a good roster.
You didn't win it throwing it. Just curious. I mean, why are you paying these guys?
Look at LJ, Fatty and Baldy.
Who?
Fucking LJ. All right, we are not one-dimensional. Confirm. That's a W for me. I'm taking the W.
No, that's not how it happened a year ago.
W.
Yeah, a W.
Dude, Saquon ran for like 50 yards.
Nobody in their right mind outside of Philly would think that was a balanced offense. Nobody. Okay.
No, I didn't say balanced. They're different.
Okay. I could ask you this question here about Travis Hunter. How valuable do you think Shohei Ohtani is as a pitcher and a hitter to the Dodgers? How much of a value, if you're a GM, this came to me last night. Swear to God, Zander, I'm watching Shohei Ohtani and I go, this fucking guy throws the ball 105.
It's insane, dude.
He's 12, 13 wins a year and he steals 50 bases and he hits 50 home runs. And I'm going like this. I've never seen anything like that again. And then I started thinking of Travis Hunter going, hang on. How much of a value is that to me with Travis Hunter if I could put him in the slot as a receiver and get a corner play? How about drop him as a special teams guy too? Does that not make him more of a back? Shit, we're talking about Cooper DeJean going out and playing the numbers and going out and playing cornerback. How much of an asset is that to him if he could play nickel and corner to the Eagles and go out there and play both? Doesn't that raise his value with the Eagles? So I started thinking the same shit with Travis Hunter. Wait a minute. You know why I want to play both? Hey, man, people thought Shohei Ohtani couldn't.
Yeah, I know. But Sills and Shohei Ohtani, that guy might have been made in a laboratory. That guy, I mean, that's insane. But this is the difference, Sills. Ready? You do this all the time.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Right?
Totally.
I mean, let's be real. Baseball is not a physically taxing sport like that. Now, pitching is on your arm and on your shoulder and all that. I understand that. But from a physical standpoint, are you telling me, and you played in the NFL, you know what NFL players look like and how much they bench press and how hard it is, what it feels like to get tackled. Are you telling me that dude's going to line up as a wide receiver and as a cornerback on a consistent basis in the NFL for multiple years? I don't see that at all.
Do you have to be physical at cornerback today in today's NFL?
That's a fair question. Maybe you can limit if he's wide receiver 3.
Isaiah Rodgers just got a $7-8 million a year deal by playing the way he plays.
That's fair. I mean, the game is different today. There's no doubt, but I still think there is, I don't think
I don't think you're wrong.
What's that?
I don't think you're wrong.
Yeah, I don't think your comp is bad. I just think it's tough to gauge because of baseball, and obviously baseball is also a very statistical game. It's not the same with football, with what Travis Hunter could be. Like Shohei Ohtani, pitching off 1.5 ERA and getting 50 stolen bases and 50 home runs. That's a stat-driven game. That's as valuable of a player as you would find in the entire sporting world. A guy that can play corner and wide receiver would not be that for football. He wouldn't even be more valuable than the 15th or 16th best quarterback in the league. So I hear you, but I don't know, man. And the other thing I don't like is Sills. Did you hear what he said about if a team's not going to play him at both, I'll retire? Like,
go ahead.
Was he a little coddled by Dion? Maybe too much.
That's another point of mine with your boy Shador.
I know. I'm starting to see a little like. All right, look. As much as I've been high on Shador, dog, you're retiring his jersey because he sold some tickets.
13-12.
Bro, 13-12. I get it. Colorado, I get it. All right, they won 2 games back to back. You're retiring the jersey? Oh, come on.
Cordell Stewart was 39-6, and they didn't do his.
Dude, that's baloney. That is baloney. I'm sorry. I like accolades like that, but I believe accolades like that are earned and are rare. And if you get accolades like that, you're in rarefied air. Come on, man. They didn't do that.
Darren Hagen won a national title for them back in the day under McCarthy. His jersey's just getting retired now.
Yeah, they had to do it because they're putting Hunter and Shador.
That's right. But wait a minute. I get Hunter. He won the Heisman. I get Hunter winning the high. I mean, you know what I mean? Shit, they don't. But then again, the history of Colorado versus Alabama, you know, retired jersey numbers at Alabama. You know why?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be somebody like stupid great to be able to be retired at Alabama. So I get the history of Colorado, but I was like, come on, guys, 13-12. He was 6-13 in conference play.
Yeah.
And you're retiring that guy's number?
I mean, I like him. I think he did good things for Colorado and everything, but like, come on, that's ridiculous. So, you know, I saw that, and then I thought about what you've been saying on the show. And then I listened to Travis Hunter say, I'm retiring if I don't get my way. And I'm like, yo, were these dudes coddled? Were these dudes, you know, wearing Charmin diapers over there at Colorado? Maybe, man. Maybe.
Yeah. How about this, man? This is a prime example of what I said to you, that if this guy goes to a shitty organization and a shitty GM, how do you think Shedeur Sanders would do in New York with Brian Dable and Joe Schoen?
How do I think who would do there? Shedeur? I'm not a Brian Dable guy. You know,
I'm not a Joe Schoen guy more than I'm not a Brian Dable
guy.
guy.
I know. That idiot hasn't made many good decisions either. I mean, his talent evaluation is absolutely brutal. It's brutal.
Hey, you know what you all should hope for? Is that Adoree Jackson turns out to be a fucking Pro Bowler. Hey, and he's a shutdown corner over there for the Eagles, man. Can you imagine if that guy's sitting there, that guy comes in and now another Giant rolls in there? Holy shit. By the way, so I love how Zander.
Wait, if the Giants drafted Shedeur, how many games would they win next year?
4.
4?
4. They got an O-line. That's why I said the Giants should trade down. Shedeur, get this. Anybody they draft at that pick, both GMs are still getting fired at the end of the year. You need multiple picks, dude. You've got to have multiple players, and the draft is from down to the bottom, where the Eagles are, believe it or not, and in the second, third, and fourth rounds. You're going to take, hey, does Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, or Abdul Carter change the fortunes of guys on the hot seat? No. You're getting fired. You got to figure out how to bring in horses, dude, not a horse.
Dude, if I'm Shedeur, I'm doing anything.
I don't go there.
I'm doing anything I can to fall to the Steelers. Perfect coach for him.
Yes.
Great, good roster for him. That's the best setup for Shedeur Sanders to have success in the NFL.
Okay. I wrote these down. Oh, wait a minute. Let me go here. You gotta love Zander.
I can see the smirk from a mile away.
Here's Zander in the morning. All right, John. I'm just saying. You know, AJ Brown trade, because Howard Eskin, hey, you know, there's just fucking terrible fucking. I gotta go over all this bullshit. And here, quite frankly, Howard Eskin got this from Dan Sileo and the great JAKIB Nation here, because I showed Zander the text from the director of football college scouting, Alonzo Highsmith. I showed him the text. We inquired about AJ. So there's one football team, and if there's one, there's multiple. Inquired about the availability of AJ Brown. That doesn't mean Howie went, oh my God, let's move him. Howie probably was looking at it, and he wanted to hear what the Patriots' value is on AJ. What would you be willing? Because if you're Howie Roseman, don't you still want to know what the market value is right now on AJ, where he is in his career? Doesn't that tell you and give you an assessment of how team in the league sees you right now? Next year, let's say this. AJ Brown, somebody calls about him, and they have a lesser of a package trade offer, and you start to see other teams saying that. You start to see the value start to go down in AJ a little bit. AJ's value is high now. I'm not suggesting it's not. It is. Okay? And it would command a ton of stuff. And you brought the smartest thing up on that conversation that John ignored. And that was this. Hey, man, you eventually got to start taking a look at your bank account. I mean, you know, you're getting a little low there. You got to figure out how to put more money in. Okay? I mean, AJ Brown's the next guy on the chopping block financially. Is he not?
It's not going to be an offensive lineman. Devontae Smith is much younger and has a way team-friendlier deal. Saquon Barkley, no, he's not tradable. He's not that type of dude. He'd probably move on from him after this new contract is up. Jalen Hurts, obviously not. Although maybe, I don't know, maybe there are some people out there based on Sileo's logic of one dimension. Hey, maybe this team could win with Brock Purdy. This team could win with Jordan Love. This team could win with anybody. But this team could win with Shedeur Sanders.
Dak Prescott, $60 million. Jordan Love, $55 million. Trevor Lawrence, $55 million. Joe Burrow, $55 million. Josh Allen, $55 million. Tagovailoa, $53.1 million. Jared Goff, $53 million. Justin
Hurts.
So
who's more replaceable?
Hold on. 52.5 and Lamar Jackson, $52 million. What do they all have in common? No Super Bowls. What's the point? They're paying them on ability, dog.
Bro, that cowboy helmet. Now I know why the cowboy helmet is in the show shot. Because it makes sense.
Why does it make sense what the league does?
Thinks like a cowboy guy.
No,
right? Thinks like a cowboy.
Think like the league. Because the league this is a league thing. This ain't a Dan Sileo.
I'm asking you, who is more easily replaced on the Eagles? Jalen Hurts or AJ Brown?
AJ Brown by far.
So you're moving on from AJ before Jalen.
Oh, by far.
Okay, then good. Then then AJ Brown is probably the next piece. Yes, that you would have to.
I think the reason that they're moving on from Goddard is because they paid Barkley.
Well, they had them both under contracts.
Well, they're moving out from one guy to just like they did on the defensive side. They moved Reddick. They paid Huff. Hey, by the way, real quick on Huff. How much of an issue do you think Huff's contract is with how they're doing business on defense?
Because not much. After next year, it's off the books.
Wait a minute. So do you think if Huff wasn't there, they would have kept Sweat? You're paying a guy now $18 million. Josh Sweat was only 19.
It's fair to wonder that. I just don't know if they wanted to pay Sweat at his age, that type of money anyway. But it's not unfair for you to say, hey, would they have signed him? I mean, maybe they would have. They're already wasting $20 million a year at edge. They can't afford to pay another guy $20 million. You could have said, hey, I would have paid Josh Sweat. That's fair. It's fair to say that.
Bryce Huff's making $1.5 million more than Sweat this year. So I mean, just to put that deal in perspective. He's making $1.5 million more than a guy you lost that was the second best player on the field February 9th.
What's the Eagles record? What is the Eagles record without AJ Brown?
I don't know.
It can't be good, right?
Well, I don't think AJ Brown. Well, listen, I'm going to say it one more time. AJ Brown being on the field is a complete asset in the run game. You know why I know that? He was in Tennessee. He's here too. Not saying that. Okay? I mean, this is why he's my type of wideout, Zander. He's my type of wideout because you can keep all the Tyreek kills. I love Justin Jefferson, but he's almost borderline there. The Jamar Chases, the Tyreek kills, all those guys who don't block in the run game, I have no interest in you. I just don't. Especially if I'm going to be a dominant team.
So why do you want to get rid of AJ?
I don't want to get rid of him. I'm asking you, how are you going to pay for all these guys coming up here? Don't you think AJ Brown? Hey, bro, I don't think they wanted to lose all them guys on defense either.
Yeah, I think
the
cap is going to go
what, another $50
million in 2 years.
Bro, I don't think they want to move off of Goddard.
Hear me out. AJ's under contract for another couple of years. The cap is going to explode another $50 million probably in the next 2 years.
Okay.
So does that eat up some of it? Obviously I know you got guys on defense, but now you're looking at it like they're not in a bad spot. They moved on from Gardner Johnson. If you move on from Goddard, if you move on from Bryce Huff coming up in the future, you'll probably sign Jalen Carter. And while it's going to be huge money, that's going to be a team-friendly contract in terms of the way it's structured. I think the same thing will happen with Nolan Smith. We'll probably kick the can down the road, open up some cap space. I think they're in a fine spot now cap-wise.
I don't think cap has anything to do with how they're operating right now.
Cash?
They got $20 million right now in cap space. I don't think there's any.
So you talking cash on me? You talking like they don't?
I'm just talking about how they're delegating money. Okay, look. So do you think Do you think Jalen Carter, or not Jalen Carter, do you think Jordan Davis gets a second deal? You think he gets a second deal?
Sorry, I was dealing with something in my office.
Oh.
Jordan Davis?
Yeah.
I'm saying no right now. I'm
Okay.
saying no. They brought in Tyleek Williams into the for a top 30 visit. And if they draft him, now they didn't draft him, obviously, but just the fact that they're looking at him makes me wonder if they're exploring cheaper alternatives to do what Davis has done for the defensive line. And that's what I think the realistic thing is going to happen with him is that he's probably going to be gone because $18 million is just too much for that guy. 20% of snaps or 25%, it's not enough. Not enough.
Nolan Smith, does he get a second deal?
Yeah, I think so.
That's 25 annually at minimum.
Well, you're projecting a 12+ sack season then.
Well, if 6 sacks ain't going to cut a second deal.
Okay, well, if he's getting $25 million, what if you give him a Josh Sweat deal?
So you think the Eagles are going to drop 20 on him over 3. They're going to pay
Maybe.
him 65
Remember,
million.
you talked yesterday. They just want a ball without elite edge rushers.
Man, I'll just ask questions here. I'm just a question asker guy here, man. That's all I am. All right.
Just a question asker. Yeah, just a question asker.
Does Dean get a second contract?
No. Nope.
Wow.
I don't see it.
Damn shame. Huff is out. Does Keely Ringo get another contract?
Right now, I'm going to say no. They're looking at corners in round 1, 2, and 3. They got corners basically brought in that could go anywhere in the NFL draft. What is he going into year 3 now, and he still hasn't been a viable player there. So, look, it would obviously comes down to this year. Right now, it's an incomplete. But if you're asking me to guess, I'm going to guess no. If he plays a good year this year, it's yes.
Okay. So who are you going to pay at safety?
Reed. John tells me they're going to pay Reed.
How much?
I guess like $10 million.
So they're going to make him the highest. They're going to make him one of the highest paid because the guy in Chicago is getting 12. Kyler, what's his name? They're going to make him the highest. So wait, you're going to have the highest paid D tackle, one of the highest paid linebackers, one of the highest paid slot corners, then one of the highest paid safeties, and a $25 million edge. And you're keeping AJ on that side of the ball too. And you're giving contracts out.
I think AJ's gone in 3 years after 2 more seasons.
I'm just going the way that they have operated this offseason. They have the money to spend. They didn't spend it.
So what are you getting at?
I'm getting at they're delegating money for one side of the football only. That's it. They're not going to be paying all that money out on defense. They don't give a shit about getting rid of a guy who was a defensive MVP in the Super Bowl. They don't care.
Are you saying they're not going to pay everybody? They're going to pay Jalen Carter. That's it.
They'll probably pay Jalen Carter. They'll pay Cooper. They'll pay Quinyon.
Cooper and Quinyon are a little far away. I don't think we need to be worried.
But they'll pay them guys down the road.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the rest of them are interchangeable in their eyes,
including Nolan.
Yeah, because they think. I'll tell you what. I think they like Jalen Hunt a lot.
Do you like Jalen Hunt?
I'm starting to, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I didn't think he was that big.
He's
I
big.
thought he was small. I thought he was a 6'2" dude. Like 240, 235. See, to me, Nolan Smith's too small. And I think even though he's good, Zander, okay, just like the conversation with Goddard, just like the conversation with N'Kobe. Hey, by the way, we're not keeping N'Kobe. Why? Because he's always hurt. It's not because he can't play.
It's also because you're not paying 2 linebackers. You just gave Zach Bowen $15 million.
That's right.
Million.
You're not paying 2 if you're not paying 2 D tackles, you're not paying 2 linebackers.
No, exactly. They're paying 2 DTs well before they pay 2 linebackers. N'Kobe Dean is gone. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. will be the guy.
Well, one last question here for you, Junior. I'm just curious. Where's that? Are we going to see a bump in pay for Jalen soon?
I don't know. I think that's interesting, man. Because look, hear me out.
He deserves it more than those other guys.
He does. And I hate counting pockets and saying shit like this. But the reason I'm saying it is because the quarterback has said things that make me say it. You talk about money is nice, championships are better. You talk about, Derek Jeter, he wants to get back to a Super Bowl. That is something that Tom Brady did that not many have done in their career. But if you're talking about you want to build a championship roster,
Mahomes is doing it now.
Yeah, you can't be taking pay raises every 2 years.
Okay.
Every 2. You can't. That's not viable. So again, I'm not going to be mad at him if he takes a deal. But if he doesn't, I think there could be a big part of it.
Do I believe that he's acting like Mahomes and Brady right now with Clutch Sports and with Nicole Lynn and how they're doing business? I have to think that no trade, there was some sort of conversation in that building, because you have to remember something. Would I rather have Jalen Hurts' contract at $51 million, or would I rather have Dak? Well, Dak's got one. See, this is where Dallas
Dak doesn't win in the playoffs.
Yeah, but wait a minute. No. I don't care about that right now. I'm talking about control of my destiny. Dak has a no trade. The Cowboys giving that guy a no trade clause who hasn't done dick in the playoffs is absurd. Jalen at least has this resume that he gets to go, this is kind of what I've done here. It's justified, the no trade.
Yeah.
See, that no trade to me is worth $10 million more, because that means the Eagles can't send me to the Jets.
I agree. And here's the thing, like LJ says, Jalen still lives in some middle-class house. Okay. I see that report.
What is Devontae?
No. Let me give you some tidbit of information. All right. I live in this area. All right. I know tons of people around this area. Jalen Hurts does not live in a middle-class house in this area. When Jalen Hurts signed his mega deal, he purchased a $6.5 million mansion. It never got out anywhere. Nobody reported it at all. It's still reported that he lives in his little house. That's fine. I don't care what he does. I would have done the same thing. I would have bought a sick house too. I'm not mad at him for doing it. But don't fall for that shit, LJ. That is bullshit that people permeate online. He does not live in a middle-class house. You think the starting quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles lives around here in a middle-class house? Hey, come on, man. The guy's he's got gates. I mean, come on, brother.
I don't really care what a guy does with his dough.
I don't either. I would have done the same thing. By the way, I've seen the house. It is absolutely stupendous.
I do care what an organization does, because what an organization does, it's not that I care that what they spend. It shows you what their mentality is. Yeah. Money tells you where they're going. Okay, look at the Eagles this offseason here. They have not upgraded anywhere. Nowhere.
They haven't. Not upgraded. No, but they didn't need to.
No. But we don't know, because we got to go into September and we got to see this thing play out a little bit here before we figure that out. But as of right now, you'd make the comment they haven't upgraded. Adding, what have they added talent to? They haven't added talent anywhere. Now, you could say, well, they're going to add talent in the draft. Well, we'll see. And you know what? I love the fact they're so successful in the second round. When I started looking at their drafts and you started talking to me about how fucking great a drafter he is, the second round draft picks that have been successful the last 5 years, fucking crazy. There's no team in the league like that.
Yeah.
Second round Pro Bowlers.
That's crazy. The fact that we did that. Yeah.
You're hoping to get starters, not Pro Bowlers.
Yeah. No, yeah. That's
and
crazy.
he's getting Pro Bowlers in round 2.
All pros too.
Dude. And what's crazy is A.J. Brown was a second rounder.
Jalen Hurts was an all pro.
When was that? I missed it.
No, 22.
Oh, that's right. 22. Last year he was all UFL.
Super Bowl MVP was UFL. Listen,
2903, 18 touchdowns, all UFL.
Listen to this a-hole. Are you kidding me, dog?
The guy
Super
from
Bowl
Army.
MVP.
The guy from Army had a better year.
Super Bowl 59. This guy dropped how many stats? What did Jalen Hurts do in
Let's
Super
see.
Bowl
Let me see
59?
what I'll tell you what his stats were. Hang on.
Let's look at what Jalen Hurts did in
Jalen
Super Bowl
Hurts'
59.
stats. I'll tell you what.
17 of 22
Here he
for
was.
220 and 2
Here he
touchdowns.
was.
Are you
He
kidding
only
me?
hey,
Also 72
wait a
yards.
minute. This guy threw the ball as many times as J.J. McCarthy did his last year, 338 times. This guy only had 338 passes last year.
Where's he ranked in your quarterback list?
Holy shit. Hang on here. This guy threw the ball for 300. Oh, actually 360. He 300 and oh my God. Hang on. I wonder how many people had more completions than he had attempts. Let me look at it.
It's so funny how you've evolved into a beauty pageant guy.
Hold on for a second.
You're
Let's see
truly
here.
a beauty pageant guy.
Hold on.
You
Let's see.
realize that, right? You are
Joe
a
Burrow-
certified
Joe Burrow had
one-dimensional beauty pageant
400
lover.
460 completions. Golf had 390. Baker Mayfield had 407, as did Geno. Who else had more? Oh, here, Mahomes had 392. Aaron Rodgers had 370. This is completions. Hurts had 361 attempts. Oh my
248
God.
completions. Good for almost.
Holy shit, this guy played in Mountain West.
Wait a second. He was 71% completions in the playoffs.
Yeah, because he threw the ball 5 times.
No, he didn't. He threw the ball 91 attempts in 4 games. What are you
Look at
talking
this,
about?
man. Look at this here. 361 passing attempts last year in 16 ball games. That's pretty, 15 ball games. That's pretty dope. Holy cow. What did Bryce Young have in attempts? He had 384, 234. Look at this here, man. This guy almost had as many completions as Hurts did. Man, I'll tell you, that's prolific.
Honestly, Sills, can you tell me something? What does that mean, truthfully, to you?
That they ran the ball a ton last year.
Yeah. Why is that a problem? It worked well.
No, because you leaned on your running back. There's no doubt. I got it.
In 22, we didn't lean on our
You're going
running
to win the Super Bowl this year like that, too, if you do.
I agree.
You're going to take that saddle and you're going to drop that saddle back on that big old pony called Saquon Barkley, and you're going to ride that thing as long as you can until that pony breaks down.
That's
what you're going to do.
I'm calling you a sphincter.
I'll tell you what, I ain't putting that Super Bowl saddle on Hurts.
I'm calling you a sphincter from now on. That's what you are, bro.
I'm going to put that damn that saddle all over on Barkley. Drop that baby right on there.
Jalen Hurts had 630 rushing yards last year and 14 touchdowns.
I love him as a runner, man. He is one dope runner.
Well,
I'll tell you
it does
what,
matter.
Hey, here, folks, remember this. Jalen Hurts has a better chance of leading the NFL in rushing touchdowns than he does ever at passing touchdowns. Okay? That's
is your legitimate number one metric, like if someone throws the most passing touchdowns, that's who I like the most?
I'm going to do this here like every NFL player that ever has been in this league. How the fuck am I getting paid? Let me see here. I ain't getting paid on wins. That's not how it works. Oh, Jalen is. Well, everyone else ain't. And everyone else is making more.
This dog.
I mean,
how does it feel?
NFL players get paid on talent.
How does it feel to be a beauty pageant?
You mean paid? Great.
No, you're a beauty pageant guy.
No, I'm a paid guy.
You're the judge of a beauty pageant.
No. I talk about those numbers because paychecks matter. By the way, Mike McCarthy from Front Office
Sports.
Get
me out of here, please, on a football Friday. This guy's torturing me.
Hey, it's a Good Friday, too.
It's Good Friday. And
what are you doing for Sunday? What are you doing for Sunday?
Sunday, we got a big, we go to my aunt's house up in Chester County. She lives on 50 acres on the top of a hill. It's insane. Huh?
Making a ham?
My aunt does all the food, but there'll probably be ham. There'll be everything. My mom and
I think we're going to do a turkey.
Oh, nice. I'm a turkey guy. You know, some people only like to eat turkey on Thanksgiving. I love turkey. But she's 100% Italian, my aunt. So, you know, it's going to be good food. It's going to be really good food. And we'll be up at her place. So, but all my family is getting together for the weekend. So, Easter is a big one for us. We love it. We love Easter.
Yeah, that's my grandma's favorite.
Who's a follower of Jesus. This is the biggest week of our faith. So, no doubt about it.
Absolutely. Let's read these supers and get your ass out of here.
All right, let's do it.
Come on, Jalen.
All right, beauty pageant. All right, beauty boy. Drew Pauly says Sills thinking is one-dimensional. Dual threat. Twizzler Jigger. What up, Twizzler? Member for 15 months. Thank you, bro. I appreciate you. You know I do. He says, first year setting protection, so we leaned on the run game, and why wouldn't we stop it? You have to earn the right for us to air it out. And
hey, that's nice. That's nice. After 6 years, you get a chance to learn how to set protections.
Wait, who am
Holy
I?
cow.
Who am I?
Hey, after 6 years.
Ready? Who am I? Super Bowl 59. The lights are bright. Here. Oh, this is the Steve Spags defense. Call it out. Ready? Hot route. Audible. Jalen Hurts at the line of scrimmage in the Super Bowl. Oh. Dissecting.
Yeah. My $65 million got deposited. Thank you very much. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Thank you. What? Who won the Super Bowl? That's one. Hey, Zander, that's wonderful.
Oh, Sills. Fucking Sills. What am I going to do with this dude? Gabe, what's up, Gabe? Gabe Santos checks in. One-dimensional means we can't succeed any other way. We were able to succeed in the passing game when needed. Hold the L, Sills, just like you did all last year. Oh! One-dimensional. By that standard, you're like half a dimension.
This is what people like to do when people need reality talk. You know the bat signal that comes in? They go like this.
Now this guy's going to start using this stupid.
This is like the bat signal. Sills, come on, man. This is the bat signal.
Guy has a toy flashlight, which will now be incorporated into the show.
Thank
Rashid,
you.
What's up, Rashid? Being one-dimensional and relying on the run are two different things. I tried to explain this. Every time everyone in Tampa team tried to take away the run, they lost too. Correct, Rashid. Well done.
$65 million. Thank you.
Well stated, Rashid. Appreciate you. Kimbos. What's up, Kimbos? Thanks for becoming a member earlier. Drew Pauly became a member as well. William and Kimbo. So three of you guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Kimbo says, Milrow digressed because of Saban's retirement. Same with Carson Bennett. That would be regressed, but that works. That works too. Digressed. Same with Carson
in my book, it's good.
Yeah, it's fine with me. I'm not the grammar police.
Yeah.
I'm not that smart. Same with Carson Beck. Digression to Todd Monken lost to NFL. Answer to Munden, linebacker from Georgia.
Okay. Always great conversations when it talks about assistant coaches that are around these quarterbacks. I happen to. Hey, so let me ask you this then: if you're telling me Milrow regressed, then Jalen Hurts must have regressed when he was at Alabama too. Do you blame Nick for him regressing at Alabama? Do you?
Who?
Nick
Saban.
Are
you talking about Jalen? Well, he didn't necessarily regress because when he started his career, like I remember.
How much better is he now than when you were there when he was at Alabama?
Dude, if you told me in 2018 was that? Or 2017, whatever it was. If you told me when I was a student at Alabama that Jalen Hurts would be what he is today, I would have looked you in the face and said, you are certifiably insane.
You think Nick Saban shocked who he is?
I think the benching in the national championship was the best thing that ever happened to Jalen Hurts.
You think Nick shocked who he is? Do you think Nick is shocked that he's this guy?
Nick Saban?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I think he would tell you he's improved, but I think Nick probably saw the work ethic up close in person.
The better question is, do you think Nick regrets benching Jalen for Tua?
No, because Tua worked in that game. Maybe the following year. You know, remember what you say about Jalen and Lamar, that you think Lamar's got more talent, but Jalen sees his way around the game better.
He does.
I think the same thing can be said with Tua, where he obviously won a lot of games, but remember, that team was loaded with talent. And in college football, when you're loaded with talent, you're head and shoulders above everybody. I think Jalen saw his way around those games so well. And actually, if you go back and watch him, that was probably his best attribute and why he was 26-2. You know, and he didn't throw much, bro. My rookie year or my freshman year, I think he threw the ball 12 or 15 times in that first game when they won 52-6.
Who was the back on that team then? Was it Najee?
The running back was Najee, but he came later. I think he was second year. Jalen's freshman year, the back was probably
Henry. Henry was gone by then, right?
No, it wasn't Henry. Henry left the year before.
Or was it Trent Richardson?
No, it wasn't Trent Richardson. Alabama roster.
I don't remember who the back in the backfield was then.
Oh, Bo Scarborough. That's who it was. Okay. And Najee was there as well.
He wasn't awful there. He was a good college player.
He was a great college player. I thought he was going to be much better in the league, actually, but he wasn't. He wasn't. It was him. It was, who else did we have, though? I thought we had a couple. Josh Jacobs, but he was super young. He wasn't playing at that point. You had Bo Scarborough, obviously. I mentioned, who else did we have there? I thought there was another one. Because remember, this was when Alabama used to have, like,
wasn't that the time, though, Zander, that Alabama was also making that transition from being a run team to, like, throwing and spreading it around because early on they had
Damian Harris. That's who they had. Damian Harris.
Was Robinson there? Brian Robinson too?
Brian Robinson there he didn't play that year. Neither did Jacobs. They were both young.
No, I
remember Josh Jacobs was a 3-star recruit. He didn't play until his last year at Bama. He only had 284 yards that year. Damian Harris led the team. Jalen Hurts was second on the team with 855 yards. Bo Scarborough was third. Najee Harris was fourth.
How about this? I'm going to make a prediction to you, dude, that Dallas Goedert's traded on day 2 of the draft.
Yeah, but why? You lose $9 million in cap space versus if you wait till June 1, you save $4 million, so it's a $13 million swing.
I don't think they're worried about saving money. I think
you might be right. You might be right. Yeah, especially cap space.
I mean, because you know why I said that? This whole thing doesn't make sense. So to me, you're either getting a draft pick or you don't care about that. Maybe that's why he saved the money, is because he was going to eat some salaries. Because look, you know what he's got to do? If you want to move up Bryce Huff and send him to the Chargers want him, but they want half the money eaten. Maybe because the $20 million, Zander, that they have saved in the cap is because they're going to eat some dough when it comes to Goddard and Huff and move them on draft day to clear those roster spots for guys in the draft at lower paychecks. Don't you think that makes more economical sense to them?
Yes.
Especially since they're counting pennies, right?
You might be right. Hollywood says, Happy Easter, Sil, Zander, and entire chat. Happy Easter, brother. Thank you, man. Absolutely. I appreciate you, Hogan. Hogan says, prediction, Cena wins 17th, Sil, Zander. I don't know much, so my opinion's doesn't mean much, but I'll play Cena wins it.
Cena the heel?
Yeah, he's the heel right now. I don't know how
he's never won remember this. I'll give you guys a little kayfabe. You know what kayfabe means, folks?
I do. That's like inside baseball, right?
When you guys are going over the script and you're talking, remember, this is how the scripts work. The script has a beginning and end. It's up to us to fill in the blank. And get this, if I'm going to lose, that means I get to kick Xander's ass. But Xander's going to pin me in the end. Okay? And we've got to make that thing look great. So it's the beginning and the end, and we got to fill the middle. Guy walks in the room, you go, kayfabe. That means that, you start talking about, I'm going to beat the shit out. And you start doing all that stupid shit. So to me, because John Cena is on the heel mark and he's never won a championship and he's never been in that role, I say he wins the 17th championship because it's good. Remember, what makes a great sport? Having villains. If you don't have villains, I think he's a shitty villain, though. To me, I'd make Roman Reigns a villain. And you know how you do it? By him endorsing Trump.
Yeah.
See him the other day endorsing
Trump. They're not matching each other. It's Cody versus Cena, right? I don't know. Honestly.
No, what I'm saying is if you want to make
another villain, you got to fill the villain role.
Okay, you turn Roman Reigns now, and you have Donald Trump show up, which he would because he loves WWE. And
I heard he's going to show up. I'm not sure if he will or not, but I heard Trump will be there. I'm not sure if it's true.
Yeah, it's in Vegas.
Yeah, it's in Vegas.
So
Devin is also one to wish all happy Easter. God bless.
I'll tell you what, man. Thank you very much, Devin. I'll tell you this: that Triple H man has done a fabulous job at putting the scripts together for that. He has been everything that you go back in the day with Ole Anderson and Cowboy Bob Orton, who used to do all that stuff too. Bobby Heenan used to do that. Some of these guys were really great script writers. Triple H has really been great because, again, remember something. Hey, folks, I'll tell you this. What I'm telling you right now about wrestling, it's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Okay? I don't care what the ending is. I just know this. When you get out of that ring, your body is toast.
I know. I always tell that people, it's fake. I'm like, all right, it's scripted. It's not fake. Believe me, these dudes are going through the ringer to do this shit, man.
Bro, it hurts. Okay? That's all I can say is that it's one of the most difficult things that I've ever done.
All right, brother, I got to run.
You got it, brother. I appreciate you, man.
Happy Good Friday to everybody. God bless everybody. Happy Easter to you. See you next time, everybody.
You got it. Do me a favor, guys. Please hit the like button. We are working on our friend Michael McCarthy. And Michael McCarthy is, again, one of the great media people in the country right now. And he works for Front Office Sports. And we're going to get him on the program, and we're going to talk some broadcasting. We'll talk WWE. We'll talk, again, WrestleMania 41 coming up and how big that is. Also, we'll get his take on streaming. We'll get his take on where the NFL is going to go. Does he ever see where you're going to see a Super Bowl that is going to be streamed? I think maybe one day you're going to see that. So make no mistake about it. So hopefully we can get a chance to catch up with Michael McCarthy. Don't forget also, we got Jason Cole coming up with us. That'll be at 5:30 Eastern time. Let's get to Morgan & Morgan here, our good friends. As you go into Easter weekend, folks, I want to tell you about a family-owned organization and a family-run business. That is Morgan & Morgan, the number one injury law firm in America with over $26 billion in recoveries for families across the country. That is the number one thing that Morgan & Morgan does. That's their record. It is unmatched anywhere. In Pennsylvania here, they recovered nearly $30 million for a family. They were initially offered $650K on a settlement. No way. Morgan & Morgan and his team, they came in and they made sure they did the very best for that family, and they got nearly $30 million in recovery for that family. In Florida, family was offered $350,000, $12 million that family was awarded. If you're ever injured, do me a favor, folks. Check out my friends at Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com/Big Sills or Pound Law 529. That's FORthepeople.com/Big Sills or Pound Law 529. And do me a favor, you tell them Big Sill sent you.
This is Eric.